Hello everyone, welcome back to another Minecraft build time-lapse. Today we are building the fourth member of the fivefold pantheon of Azerin. No, you don't count Jero. Today's god is Valrok, god of glorious battle. A warrior of unmatched prowess, Valrok leads his armies on the front lines through countless victories. Here I start to make his face. Valrok's orange hair is meant to complement the fire he channels in battle. Even though a lot of his body will be covered in armor, I still want it to look relatively smooth beforehand. Now I started on the armor by giving him a spiky gorget. I then move on to making the shape of his breastplate. I give him a helmet with a lot of spiky horns. As you can probably tell by now, these will be a recurring visual theme with this character. So I've been experimenting with the flashback mod for this video, and unfortunately there's been a few times where I forgot to record parts of the video, so sorry about that. Anyways, I made some more of his armor pieces and his cape. Here I build his left vambrace with the loft tool. I decided to make some of his hair come out the back of his helmet. Here I build the armored folds on his hips. Now I use some noise patterns to make his cape tattered and war-torn. I also give him a top knot which will be on fire. I start making the fire, but I'm not quite happy with it at this point, so I'll have to work at it some more. Here I build his molten sword which he dual wields. After finishing up the sword, I copy and rotate it into a position so you can hold one in each hand. Here I give him some armored boots with clawed toes. I didn't have much experience building dynamic fire, so I was somewhat experimenting at this point. I shared some work in progress pictures on Discord, and I was given some helpful advice by a person. Now I start the shading process. A lot of it was done with a combination of Axiom and Easy Edit shading tools, but I decided it would be a nice touch to add some armor highlights manually. After some last minute tweaks to the flame, I color them in with stained glass and light blocks. I'm actually pretty happy with how it turned out, and for me this is when I think this build really started to take off. Now if you've been paying close attention, you may have noticed that every member of the Pantheon thus far has had animal familiars. Ashra had a pair of doves, Mikala had a pair of eels, and Talavar had an unkindness of ravens, because apparently that's what a bunch of ravens is called. Now for Valrok I decided to make a larger animal, so let me introduce you to the goodest of boys, Valrok's hound Fengar. Here I make a large spiked collar for Fengar. Now it's time to start building Valrok's temple, the Ember Steel Arena. I don't exactly know where I want to take this yet, so I start by making this almost Colosseum-ish wall around the base. I use a Voronoi pattern here to make a magma texture on the ground. I then shade it with some commands. Here I make a two-layered bridge. To add some interesting features, I make these large spiky axe blade looking things with small braziers across the length of it. Now I start to build the entrance gateway to the arena. As I stated earlier, I wasn't exactly sure how I wanted to go about this part, and I end up simplifying it later on. After building up the gateway, I make some bull-like horns to frame the entrance. I made some large banners for each side of the entrance. I then cut down the towers as I felt they weren't really necessary for the build. Pasted the banners at an angle and made a sword emblem for them. I then textured the banners with easy edits. Speaking of easy edits, I decided that I needed to texture the build, so I used the flow field to create an almost blood splatterish effect on the build that I thought looked really cool. Lastly, I created some more spikes around the base of the arena, and with that, the build is complete.